started on Friday against you got Newman and Lubbock Christian this weekend. Talk about those matchups to start the year off this year.
Yeah, you get through a couple weeks of preseason, and obviously I think the only guys that are more excited to start the year are the players. I think a couple weeks of preseason it's taxing, but it's very much needed, and I think the guys have done quite well this preseason. So, we've opened up against the Texas schools or the Heartland schools now for a couple years, and it's gone a long way in terms of dictating what our season looks like, and where we really fit into the regional rankings. We know pretty early. We haven't played Lubbock Christian or Newman yet. I think Lubbock Christian has a coach that's been there for a couple years, and expecting to see some very talented players there. And of course, Newman had a great year last year. I think the best year in program history. So we know they're coming here to compete and win the match, and we're certainly we understand how important these games are in terms of helping us reach those end goals of being a national tournament team.
Questions?
And when you play, it's like kind of almost like a round robin, this kind of double tree showcase kind of thing. How do you prepare for a certain amount of teams in that span? Do you prepare certain styles throughout the week against certain styles throughout the week, or how do you go about doing that?
We have a common phrase that we use in the program, and that's game by game, result by result. So on a given weekend, 100% of our focus goes on the team that we play on that Friday. We don't discuss the team that we're matching up against the Sunday really in any capacity before we take care of that Friday game. Early in the season, it's a little bit different. I think mainly and primarily the concentration in it is on you and what your guys are doing. We don't, of course, we'll have a quick, brief conversation on what we anticipate Lubbock Christian looking like, but I think we're of the opinion that if we get things right, if we cover our major tenets that we've addressed this preseason, I think we're going to be okay.
And Moshe, the summer you had in the development league, what all did you get out of that and hope to transfer into this fall? You had a pretty good summer.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, I would say. The main thing I would take from this summer is just how I became much more professional. The way I see the game and the way my attitude is towards the game, and I'm trying to help the young guys do the same. And this summer I was competing against really good players, and my spot was never guaranteed. I wasn't a starter at the beginning, and I had to come out every day and fight for my position, and that's what I'm trying to tell those young guys, freshmen, incoming players, transfers, whoever is new to the program, or even redshirts from last year. You gotta come out every day and fight for your position, and that's something the coaches say a lot. And that's how it is in this sport, and in every other sport, you just gotta fight for your position. It's something that I'm trying to help the other guys.
A little different role for you this year?
We lost our main goal scorer, my friend Roy. We all know what Roy was for this team and for this program, but at the same time, I don't think we'll have a player that will score 23 goals just himself. We will have a few guys that will score, I believe, and I'm expecting double digits from few guys. And I feel like, we'll have to take up this new role, not just getting assists and helping my teammates, but also scoring more and more goals, like I did this past summer.
How much more dangerous does that make you guys, considering now that the other team isn't focused just on a Roy? Now they have to worry about multiple people.
The coaches, the main thing the coaches always say is so as a team, our main goal is to get as many bodies as we can get in front of the goal into the box. So now we don't have Roy, which was a big threat for all the defenses in this conference. Like you said, we're expecting to have 4 or 5 guys that are attacking the goal at the same time, and I don't know a lot of defenses in this level that are able to handle that many guys that are attacking them at the same time. So this is gonna be very difficult for them.
Considering how much regional matches can weigh later in the season, looking for the stacking for the regional tournament, what's your take on playing those games so early in the season?
It's can't say that I love it. I think most coaches would enjoy a little bit more preparation and potentially see 2 of those games in the mid-year as opposed to all 4 of them stacked up to start the year. But that said, it's been this way pretty much as long as I can remember, both when I was playing at Fort Lewis and certainly now as a coach. So I think it's just one of those situations. It is what it is. What it would take is essentially two conferences getting on the same page and developing a season and a schedule to say we're going to leave these 4 games in the middle of the year out. And whether that could be realized or not, I think it'd be a pretty difficult reality, to be honest, just because of travel and budgets and everything like that. So would I like to see a slight change? Yes, but at the same time, it's been like this for a long time now.
Do you feel it gives you an idea of, okay, this is where we are within postseason, this is where we need to be?
Absolutely. I think when you're playing the teams that we are, in the Lubbock Christians and the Newman, and of course next weekend St. Edward's and St. Mary's, it's a great measuring stick. I think of those 4 teams that we play, I think we would anticipate 2 of those teams certainly being in the top 4, top 5 of the Heartland Conference. So I do think it's a very, very good measuring stick, and we've developed some rivalries with a couple of those Texas schools, which is fantastic, and that's what you want. And it's yeah, so I think I got that one. Excuse me.
Todd, Moshe talked about, you obviously you don't have a Roy,
Mhm.
but have the kids kind of adapted to everybody, let's just flood the goal, and you still got some guys who can put the ball in the net.
Absolutely, and from year to year, we've never had the continuity in which we have this year, just in terms of the guys that we have coming back, and the guys' familiarity with the system and philosophy. I think probably what's one of the most exciting about this year's group is we're going to be multidimensional. We're going to be able to attack from different angles and positions on the field, where last year, more often than not, it was getting to the end line, it was getting service to Roy, and letting him finish things. So as a soccer player, as a good soccer player, I think you only want more responsibility. And I think a lot of the guys that we have in the program are really relishing this opportunity and looking forward to grabbing it at the scruff of the neck and saying, okay, I can do this too. So I think we're going to be able to create more chances, I think, than what we did last year. And now it's just a matter of who's going to take those chances on. But last year's group, I would say we were going to have goals for maybe 2 or 3 positions. I think this year's group can literally have goals from 7 or 8 positions, just because of our depth and I think the personal attributes that we have in the players. So we are going to look a little bit different, but I think it's exciting, and I don't necessarily know that it's a bad different.
So defensively, you've still got the one guy right in the middle of things, but you've still got a really good defense. Looks like it's one of those teams that you can shut people down who you need to.
I think they have the ability to be the best defensive team that we've ever had. The only player that we don't have coming back as a starter from last year was our right back in Nick Pena. Other than that, we have Briley, we have James McGee, we have Slater, and we have Roberto. We also have, I think, what we would consider a couple young bucks who are going to open up a lot of eyes this year as well. So defensively is always going to be where this program hangs our hat. I know at times Moshe, as an offensive player, doesn't love to hear that, but at the same time, I think he understands the need to be stout defensively and make sure that you're secure on that side of the ball before you worry about scoring goals, because obviously you can't score if you can't win if you can't score, right? But defensively, I think we're going to be a difficult side to break down this year.
Is it weird first practice not seeing Roy for the first time and since you were maybe this big?
It was real. Honestly, it was weird not to have him here. Just as a friend, not just as his teammate. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows we're great friends. We really had a great chemistry, but I mean, we have really good players this year. Other guys that I have a really good chemistry with, like Malik, like Kevin Del Mazo, like Roberto Diaz. Honestly, great players that I believe, and the coaching staff believes that they will replace all the guys that we lost last year. And I mean, Roy was the biggest loss of them all, but I'm sure everyone will work together to do that, to fill that role. So I'm sure we will be just fine.
And it was foreign to me as well. Roy Roy had been here from the time I got here. Obviously a wonderful player to have in your program as a new coach, but no, I think when we got out there on day one, it was a little bit different. You know, Roy is not only a great player, but a great personality and a great friend to a lot of the guys. But you know, that's college athletics, isn't it? You know, you have them for 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5, and then hopefully they move on to bigger and better. But I don't think there's any doubt, you know, Roy's missed.
Do you like being the team to beat in the conference?
And as a player, like he said, like coach said, you always want to have more responsibility, and I honestly I like it. I rather to be that big team that everyone has a target on and everyone wants to beat, instead of just another team just playing in the mid table and not having any goals or anything to do like in their season. So yeah, I'm happy to be that team that everyone wants to beat, everyone doesn't like, and I'm sure that's the case. And I know a lot of those teams are expecting to beat us this year, but I feel like they're gonna have an even harder time than they had last year. So.
And yeah, I think it's enjoyable for the guys. You know, I think it speaks volumes to where the program's at. I think to garner that respect now is something that we've worked very, very hard towards. But that said, am I the biggest fan of preseason rankings? No, I don't know too many coaches that are. You know, it's one of those things that a lot of it is based on what you did last year, and of course what you have coming back this year. But you know, the season is so long, it's so grueling, and it's such a process that we don't put a lot of stake in the preseason rankings. What we tell the guys, well, you know, that's exactly where we want to be come the final match of the year. Where we want to be is considered a top 10, top 15 team in the country, and of course we want to be, you know, hoisting trophies in championships.
Anything else?